Alright, hey, how you doing, YouTube? Alright, what we're doing here, I'm welding up some bronze for my uncle. It's an 85-555. It's 85% copper, 5% tin, 5% zinc, and 5% lead. It's been about the worst thing I've had to weld, and it's so thin. The wax mold that was made was not adequate. It should have been at least a quarter to 3/8 thick, but it was 1/8 and a 1/16 in some places. But as you can see right now, I'm welding on alternating current, amps 190. I put it on the AC balance, the cleansing and penetration action. I just put it to auto because really wouldn't figure it out. The high frequency obviously blinking. Turned that up, going pretty fast. I turned it down slow. Just couldn't really figure out how it would work. Never welded bronze before, but I've welded it on AC and I welded it on DC, electrode negative. And this is what I'm welding. It's a bust my uncle brought me that they cast the other day, and the welds are way below my standard. It's kind of dirt daubing. It just by the time it gets hot enough to weld like aluminum, it starts to sink in, and then it's already melted through. And underneath this thing, well, you can't see it, but the front, there's sand all back in there from the cast, and I guess it's pulling the impurities from there. Even though I've brushed it and cleaned it and ground it down smooth, it's still pulling stuff from the backside, making it absolute misery to weld. But I did get it sealed up and daubed up. Right here, his mouth did not exist. There was just a giant hole in his face, and his cheek over here was a giant hole. Of course, there's a little patchwork right there on that little... Right there, it's still hot. I ain't gonna touch it. But had to bridge across his nose. Had to take and weld a line around there, and I ground that back flat. I first brazed his face right here in his cheek and all his mouth, and then came back over and hit it with the TIG welder. I used pure tungsten. I tried 2% thoriated. I tried direct current, electrode negative, alternating current. They all work, but it seems to me that the pure tungsten on alternating current seems to weld it the best. You can lay some pretty good beads once it gets to the right temperature. I don't know if it'll zoom in or not. Apparently not, but that was a giant crack. Like I said, all this I had to braze in first and then just come over and dirt daub over the top of it. This is what it looked like on his cheek. This is the back side. Holes like that, and I had to fill up prior to welding over it because the TIG will not weld that up. Took the torch and used these bronze silica rods. I just take the torch and I'd heat them up and fill it, just jam it in the hole and burn it down until it sealed up enough to put a pass over the top of it. But all in all, I think it turned out pretty well. And I'll give it back to my uncle and let him do the sculpting back to normal part with the burr motor. I'm not sure this guy's name, but he started the first African American church in Mississippi. Well, that was my little 2 cents on the TIG. If you ever have to weld bronze, it might help you, it might hurt you, I don't know. But have fun and happy YouTube.